everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I'm Grace. I'm 20 years old and I'm a BSc microbiology student at the University of Leeds. So today's video I'm very excited about, and I've got some really exciting news to share with you guys. So make sure to keep watching to find out what that is. So as you've probably seen from the title, my exciting news is that I got a job, which I'm so happy about. So I'm going to be working at consulting at McCann Health during my placement year as an intern as part of the consulting team. So I will definitely tell you guys a bit more about the company and what my role is actually going to involve in a second, but I just thought I'd give a little bit of background about sort of year in industry and placements for those of you who don't know. So basically, as part of my university course, I can choose to do in my third year a year abroad or a year in industry. Now obviously you don't have to do either of these, you can just do the 3-year course. But you can choose to do this extra year and then come back in 4th year to do the 3rd year of university. So I decided to do a placement rather than a year abroad, purely because I really wanted something extra to sort of boost my skills professionally and obviously boost my CV. And I really wanted to sort of get out into work and use those skills I've learned through sort of part-time work experience in academia in a proper role, in a full-time role with an exciting company. So I didn't want to do a study abroad because I didn't want to study for an extra year essentially, and obviously it's exciting to go abroad, but I think I'd rather do that sort of after university and go travelling and not have the pressures of studying and really be able to explore the areas that I go to. So I'm really interested to find out if any of you guys have done a year in industry, if you've already been to university, or if you're at university and planning on doing one, or maybe you're applying or in school and consider doing a placement year, or maybe even a year abroad. So comment down below, let me know what you guys have done or what you're thinking of doing. I've spent approximately the past 8 months writing CVs, writing cover letters, filling in application forms, going to online assessment days, going to online interviews. So it's been a really full-on process, and it has taken a lot of hard work and commitment and motivation a lot of the time, as well as determination. So it's so good to finally get a role that I really wanted at the same time. So I'm going to do another video on all of the places that I did apply to and all of the roles, maybe 1 or 2 videos depending on how long they are, just to give you an insight bit more into the actual placement process and applying for different places. So I'm going to be working as a strategic consultancy intern at consulting at McCann Health, which is located in Macclesfield, so near Manchester, near the Peak District, which I really love. So I'm going to be there from August this year, so August 2021 to July 2022. So in terms of the actual placement year, I'm pretty sure you have to do a minimum of 10 months and then obviously a maximum of 12 or 13 months, basically making sure that you're back in time to do that final year of university. So before I go sort of into the specifics of what the role is going to involve, I thought I'd give you a little bit of background about the company and what they do. Obviously, I'm going to learn a lot more about the company when I actually start the role and really immerse myself into the team. But as an overview, essentially, consulting at McCann Health are part of McCann Health, which is a global healthcare communications agency. And then McCann Health is part of the McCann World Group alongside other agencies such as Momentum, Future Brand and McCann. It's a little bit confusing because there's so many sort of stages to each group essentially, but all you need to know is that I'm going to be working for consulting at McCann Health. I also may refer to consulting at McCann Health as McCann just because it's a little bit easier, but that's who I'm talking about essentially, not McCann Health or McCann, just consulting at McCann Health. So consulting at McCann Health are a healthcare research and brand strategy consultancy agency. So they essentially take on pharmaceutical clients and really help them with commercial strategic consultancy, marketing excellence, and insights. So essentially there's sort of 3 parts to the business. The first is business consultancy. So this is taking on clients in the pharmaceutical industry. So for example, let's say that AstraZeneca are bringing out a new drug. So they'll go to McCann, and McCann will basically produce, for example, position statements. So looking into the market and what other drugs are out there, and how they can compete with other competitors essentially. And then the second part, which that leads on from, is market research. So researching the market, so for example, doing interviews with doctors or scientists and patients, and really seeing what they want from a drug, and why this particular drug from AstraZeneca, for example, would be the best. So then essentially McCann can help the pharmaceutical companies really market their drug and really show why it's the best drug to go for. And then the third part, which is quite recent to consulting at McCann Health, so they used to do this and then they stopped doing it, but now they're bringing it back again. But this is market access. So market access is pretty much looking sort of worldwide and seeing where there's access in different markets worldwide to implement different drugs and products. So obviously there's different laws and regulatory agencies in different parts of the world. So obviously you've got the FDA in America, you've got the EMA in Europe, and in the UK we have something called the MHRA. So Consulting McCann Health will make sure that these drugs are suitable for these different areas of the world, and they're regulated effectively. So my role incorporates all these different factors. So I'm going to be doing market analysis and researching current and future treatment pathways, and looking at the different competitive environments. For example, I might organise and carry out primary research interviews with physicians or patients to get their side to things. So it's important to get the qualitative data as well as the quantitative. Also, I'm going to be analysing evidence, so looking at clinical data, also real world studies to support strategies that we come up with. I'm also going to be conducting desk research to support these project tasks and proposal development. I'm also going to be contributing to the development of high quality, accurate projects. So we want to make sure that these projects that we create and produce and we write up are not only really accurate and high quality, but also compelling too. And then I'll also be involved in supporting the team with workshops and meetings, and also preparing materials for those as well. So the reason I really think that this is the perfect role for me, and why I was so keen to get this job, is because it really incorporates everything that I'm passionate about. So it's in the forefront of science and research and working with the pharmaceutical industry. Within my degree, I look at lots of different diseases and drugs and treatments. Secondly, it's also involving data and evidence analysis, which is something that's key to my degree and something that I find really, really interesting. So looking at this different sort of quantitative or qualitative data and working out how to produce engaging projects, which is similar to what I do on this YouTube channel essentially. So for example, with some of my biology videos, I'm looking at these specifications for different courses, which can be quite complex, and breaking them down to create sort of more engaging and compelling presentations with animation and colours, and really making it clear to different audiences. The business and marketing side of things, my interest has definitely grown with that, in terms of, obviously I've had to do a lot of marketing for this channel. I've done marketing for my role as a student engagement intern at university. So I really love how that can sort of bring out my creative side alongside creating these sort of compelling projects. I think with business and marketing as well, there's always an interaction with lots of different people, whether it's colleagues or different audiences, or different other different people. So for example, in this case with doctors and physicians and patients. So I just think overall it's a really, really exciting role, and something I definitely want to pursue in the future, in terms of either doing scientific consultancy or scientific communication. And I think this role really encompasses both of those aspects. So in terms of my working week, I'm going to be working 37 hours a week, so which is pretty decent, to be fair. I've got it's 9:30 till 5:30 Monday to Thursday, and then 9:30 till 2:30 on Friday, which is really, really nice. So if I want to travel home for a weekend, for example, or go and visit my boyfriend, obviously nothing's set in stone yet because of the pandemic situation I spoke about previously. The company have said that essentially they're going to begin sort of introducing people back to the office in June, I think they said June or July, but only at sort of 10% capacity. And then as sort of restrictions ease and the pandemic hopefully goes away, they'll be able to bring people back to the office. But despite that, they think that they're still going to continue having at least some time working at home, so a bit of a balance between people working in the office and people working at home. In terms of that, let's say, for example, I'm only in the office for 2 days a week. It would actually work out cheaper for me if, say, I got a hotel room for those 2 nights or those 2 days that I was there, and then lived at home for the remainder, because obviously I can work online from home. So in terms of actually moving there, there's a few different things to think about at the moment, but obviously as we get nearer the time, it should be hopefully easier to see how things are going to pan out. So in terms of the application process, Consulting at McCann Health did an online presentation essentially advertising the role for our university in, I think it was definitely either September or October, and this was sort of the first role that I'd seen that I had a real interest in, and the staff who gave the presentation were really passionate and really friendly, and that was something I really loved as well. And they also talked about how it's quite a small team, so everyone gets to know each other really well and works really well together, so that was something I also really liked. So what I did straight after this presentation was actually add the 2 current interns who are there at the moment on LinkedIn, and sent them some messages just asking about the role. And they were both so lovely about it. One of the interns actually set up a call with me and gave me loads of advice on my CV and cover letter, and gave me some insights to what sort of the application process would involve and what the interview would involve. So they were both so lovely about it and so supportive. So I then did my CV and my cover letter, and we had to submit those to our university placement office by, I think it was the 5th of February. So originally it was meant to be earlier, but the advertisement was just put out a bit later than we expected, so we had a little bit of extra time to submit it essentially. So on the 25th of February I got an email inviting me to interview, which was really, really exciting, and I was told that I had to prepare a case study presentation for the interview that I was going to present. So this could be based on any piece of coursework or project that I'd done, and I chose to do it on a piece of research and my engagement project that I was doing as part of my communication research module. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about this in my chatty Get Ready With Me, but I think I will do a whole video on that module and the presentation and the engagement project, because it's something that I'm really, really enjoying, something that I'm really passionate about. So the email also stated that they were happy to set up a call with one of the interns for me. So despite speaking to them a lot already, I got to speak to them even more, which is really nice. Just sort of ask sort of last minute tips for the interview. So that was sort of like a 20-minute, 30-minute call. I think it was a week before the interview. And then obviously the actual interview came along, and that involved doing an unseen task. So basically there was they gave me a PowerPoint presentation which was a case study on a particular disease and a particular set of drugs, and there was lots of sort of qualitative information, quantitative information, graphs, lots of different facts and things like that, and then I had a few questions to answer. So I had an hour for that, and then I came back and I sort of discussed my answers with the people who were on the interview panel. So there was no pressure. The people on the interview panel were really, really lovely. We had a really nice discussion about it. So that was absolutely fine. I then had to give my presentation, which they really loved, and they asked lots of questions on. So that was definitely good as well. And then obviously finally I had the actual interview, which was really nice. They basically just asked me about me and sort of my experience, like work experiences, and why I wanted the role, of course. So it's just really nice, sort of chilled conversation chat essentially. And again, the three ladies on the interview panel were so lovely and so friendly, and it just made me want the role even more. So then after the interview, I think it was about maybe, so I had the interview on a Monday, and then I think I got a call, not the Friday of that week, but the following Friday, from the HR manager, who's so lovely as well. And she gave me a call and let me know that I had gotten the job, which I was so happy about. So it was such a nice way to go into the weekend, and such a relief. So it was really good. Overall, the application process was really good. It wasn't too long or too hard. It didn't take up too much of my time, but also really made me think about different diseases and the role itself as well, and the company. So in terms of the university work requirements for this placement year, you do have to complete some university work. So you don't just go off on your placement and forget about university for a year, unfortunately. But basically we have to complete a 2,000 word report by February, and then we have to do a 6,000 word report, which we submit the October of the following academic year. And this is based on, I think, a project that you do within your placement. So you aren't assessed on these pieces of work, but you do have to pass them in order to successfully complete the year in industry and go on to your final year of university. So I just want to talk a little bit about the tuition fees and maintenance loan. So essentially for our university, we have to pay 15% of our usual tuition fees. So the usual tuition fees, I think, are around £9,500. So 15% of that, I think, is something like 1,380 something. So it's not too bad. Obviously you still got all the university support and the careers help and all the different support systems there, and obviously you do have contacts and people to help you with your university work projects, and just if you've got any troubles in your placement, obviously, of course, you can talk to the university as well. And then you do get a maintenance loan. This is reduced though. So I think the minimum you get is 2,874. Obviously that may change. And if you're in London, I think you definitely get significantly more than that. So it's not too bad, but obviously this is a paid placement. I definitely want to do something that was paid. The university really advise you, or essentially tell you to do a paid placement unless you're really financially secure and don't require that payment, essentially. But I am being paid for this placement, which is good. So as I said before, I am going to do some other videos on the other placements that I applied for, the application processes and the interviews. But yeah, I'm so excited to share this news with you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do give a big thumbs up, and subscribe down below if you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.